Hey everybody, welcome back to the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. My name is Scott. If you're new to this channel and you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys such as bourbons, ryes, American style whiskeys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also make sure you hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new uploads, live streams. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. So today we're going to be doing a review of MICHTER'S small batch sour mash. So MICHTER'S small batch sour mash. This is a really kind of an interesting whiskey. It's not labeled as a bourbon or anything along those lines, having to do with whatever the details were that prevent it from being a bourbon. I wasn't able to find out any information as to why it wasn't necessarily being labeled as a bourbon. So why don't we get into a little bit of the review? So typically what I try to do is we'll go through the appearance, we'll nose it, we'll taste it, and then we'll go through the finishing part of it and any other general information regarding this. So first, before we get into the actual review, just a little bit of general information regarding the MICHTER'S US1 small batch sour mash. So it is a non-age stated. Proof on this is 86 proof or 43% ABV. The MSRP on this is right around that $40 range, may fluctuate $5 or $10 depending on where you are. But everywhere I've seen so far, it's been right in that $40, $45, maybe $50 range max. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and we'll get into the review. So as you can see, kind of a nice lightish, amber type of color to it. So, all right, let's get into the nose. All right, so for me, right away, I'm picking up a lot of this caramel. A little bit like a caramel apple type of note. A little bit of cherry is there as well. Definitely some oak. It's very sweet right away. A little bit of kind of like a confectionery type of sweetness or like a cotton candy. Even a bit of that sweetness, marshmallow type of sweetness. Yeah, it's a really nice, a little bit of honey kind of coming through on that. But a very sweet nose. Not getting hit with a lot of rye spice or spice in general. The sweetness is just really dominating on the nose. So, but yeah, if you like so far a whiskey that's kind of sweet to the smell, so far this is would be something that you may really enjoy. So, but really, let's get into the taste and see where we're at with this one. So, cheers. All right, so I'll take another sip. Kind of helps get the palate coated a little bit. Gives you just a better idea of what it is you're really tasting versus trying to taste something off of that first sip. So my first impression is right away the burnt sugars, little bit of like a coconut to it. Definitely the caramel wants to come through. There's this little bit of bitterness that's coming through. I'm guessing that's probably has a little bit to do with the oak on this. Yeah, definitely a little bit of rye spice really kind of coming through. That oak is really, really present with this. And as the finish begins to kind of develop, you're getting this leathery kind of dryness. So as it kind of progresses through, you're hit initially up front, like on the front of the tongue, with a little bit of sweetness, not nearly as sweet as the nose was. So both the nose and the palate, I would say, are kind of moving in different directions. Again, on the palate, you're getting a little bit up front of that, just a tinge of sweetness up front. You know, maybe with the kind of the caramels and this like, you know, maybe like toasted type of note to it a little bit. But then as you kind of start to get through, the finish starts to begin to kind of develop, you're starting to pick up a little more dryness, a little more of that leathery type of note. The oak is for sure present. And so, yeah, it's very, very different from the nose to the palate. It does have overall a nice kind of oily mouthfeel. So it does coat the palate really well. I would say as you start to kind of take a few more sips, less sweetness is there, and you're really starting to taste more of the oak. That leathery kind of, that leather presence is there. Again, it's dry, starts to dry out a little bit. So I would say the finish part of this is probably more on the dry side. A little bit of the oak is there. That rye is kind of wanting to come through. Yeah, oak, leather, the dryness. So yeah, it's a very different flavor on the palate than it is the nose. I would say they're both very different. Now, if you're going to do something with this outside of just sipping on it neat, or, you know, with ice or whatever it may be, or a little bit of water, for a cocktail, might be kind of interesting. Would be, you know, probably something good for like a Manhattan, where you've got a little bit of the dryness that would mix with the sweet vermouth. Probably make a really nice cocktail from that standpoint. But as far as just sipping on this thing, you know, neat, I think it's a really solid whiskey. You just have to understand that, for me, the nose, where you're getting lulled into that this is going to be a very sweet whiskey, it's not that for me. I pick up way more of the leather, the oak, the rye spice on this. And then as that finish again begins to develop, you're left with quite a bit of, you know, dryness on the palate. So finish wise, I would say, you know, as I've kind of continued to talk a little bit, it's there probably more on the medium side. And for me, it really finishes in mostly all oak and that leather type of note to it. So, you know, it's a good whiskey. You know, if that's something that may fit, you know, what you would enjoy, you know, give this a try. For $40, if you can find it, I would say it's, you know, it's probably worth, you know, picking up. So, but again, really, you know, nice, interesting, you know, good balance to it. I mean, you can tell it's a really solid, you know, whiskey. They've done a really nice job with it. It's a little bit different in terms of, again, the nose and the palate and all of that kind of, you know, matching up. So that's something for me that at times will kind of throw you off a little bit, because once you start to nose something, you expect it to kind of taste a little bit like what the nose is going to be. And for me, this wasn't that at all. So again, you know, take that for what it's worth. Those are what I kind of picked up on the nosing and the tasting part of it. So, but again, so this is the MICHTER'S US 1 small batch sour mash. So yeah, I think, you know, pick it up and you know, give it a try. So outside of that, so regarding my channel, so I just updated the my Patreon page. So if you want to go check that out and support the channel, there's some different tiers and stuff that that'll be there. So if you want to, kind of support the channel, go ahead and check that out. Also, leave some comments, give me a thumbs up. I like the comments. I'm always interested to know whether or not people have tried this and your thoughts. Do you get something similar to, to what I was picking up? So that's always, interesting to me. So, but yeah, outside of that, thumbs up, leave some comments, check out the new Patreon page. And like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.